Hey, this is David over here at Slappy Studios. How you doing? All right. I'm going to show you a little bit about projection maps and how to turn a 2D map into 3D. So this is basically what you're going to see right here. I'm going to do a quick tutorial in this right here. I'll show you what it is. So basically, it's if you take a flat 2D image. This is what I shot at my studio down the hall, and it's cashing in right now. Sorry it's taking so long. Okay, so here this is what it's going to look like right here. So basically what you got to do is you got to use the clone stamp tool to model that in of the door. So let's get started. I'll show you what I mean. So here we go. We have a fresh, clean Nuke here. So go to your read node and bring in a flat 3D image. So basically here's what it's going to look like. Alright, so here we go. So what I mean by you have to model what's not there. So it's kind of like if you're a 3D modeler and you've modeled before, or well, let me just take you through it. So basically here's what it is. To make a 3D image out of a 2D image, you have to go here, add a roto paint, and so here you go. You got to go to your clone stamp tool, like in Photoshop, and then hold Control down, left mouse button, and then Shift left mouse button, make those bigger. So you can just kind of, if you get this. So you got to model this right here, straight down. So basically you have to do what's not really there, so you can look behind it. We'll fix that door up in a minute. So like in Photoshop, you got to build that stuff back in. How far? Well, it all depends on how far you want to use your camera. So just kind of give this some flavor here, right there. I'm just going to do this like a quick modeling thing here. So and this is the same as clean plating too. You'll be doing the same thing in clean plating, and I'll do a tutorial on that pretty soon in clean plating for turning 2D movies into 3D movies. Okay, so that's about all you need. Just got to kind of build what is not there in a 2D movie, in a 2D picture. Alright, so here we go. So on this, in your tree, alright, so another thing I want to tell you is when you select, hold on, delete these keys. Alright, so once again is you want to select all these, holding shift down, and go to lifetime single frames to all frames. Alright, so now we got that out of the way. Close that. So here's our everything's all nicely painted out, looking good. You can go back there and fix that if you want to, but it's not a big deal right now. Okay, so basically we're going to be looking behind these boxes. So now we're going to go back over here and add 3 roto paints, but turn the auto key off. Then you're going to turn off red, green, and blue. You can see it changes this roto paint from that roto paint. Just only the alpha is going to be there. So Control C, Control V, Control V. So name this one floor. Left wall. And right wall. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to plug all these into that roto. You're not going to see no changes or nothing yet. So, let's get some room over here. So, boom. Boom. I'm a little bit of a neat freak, so I'll neaten those up. Alright. So now we are going to put, now you're going to roto these out. The floor, wall, and wall. And I'll show you why. So floor, grab your Bezier. Boom. Left wall. Oops. Bezier. Shift C tightens that up. And your right wall. Grab your Bezier. Boom. Oh, you know what I forgot to do real quick, you guys? Is also hit your S key and whatever your project is, set it to that. So you can't see it because it'll go off the screen. Mine's down there. Now it says 4320, 4320. So just set your project. Okay. So now that you've rotoed everything out, and there's a reason why. So now add a pre-molt. Again, you're going to copy these over. You're still not going to see no changes yet. Add a camera. I'll show you why in a minute. Alright, now a projection 3D. So go to shader, projection 3D, and copy this over again. You're going to put all that in there. You're going to put this into the camera. Yoink. Just make it nice and tidy. All right. So now that we got all that going, and now we're going to make our cards for our walls. And I'll show you that in 3D. So now, you're going to go here, geometry, cards. And again, we're going to do the same thing. Control C, Control V, Control V. We're going to pipe those into there, to there. Now basically what this is doing, it's creating a roto and the alpha. So there's your roto. You're pre-molting it because you're cutting it out. You're projecting it, and there's your card. So now if you go to 2D to 3D and you pull out with your camera, you're going to see your cards. Now, one thing about the cards is I like to do, you don't have to do it, but I like to do it. So take your cards. It has a division of 8. Go to 0, 0. And since that is the floor, you're going to rotate that 90 degrees in the X. So it just lays it down like your floor. I give it a 2 and a 2 to make it a little bit bigger. You can see it getting bigger. And change the texture to textured lines. And oops, scoot that just right about there, and I'll show you why. And so the this card, you're going to do the same, 0, 0, and rotate that 90 degrees in the Y. So there's your other wall. Push it back and bring it up like if it was sitting on the wall. You 3D guys, you know what I'm talking about. No big deal. But I like to get it just a little bit underneath the floor and overlapping. And you'll know why in a minute. Okay, and this one, card, again 0, 0, and you don't need to rotate that one any. Just bring it back, and you can see already, I'll show you in 1 second. Textured lines, textured with lines, because now you can see everything that you're doing. Everything's got to overlap just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. So there you go. Now if you grab your camera, pull it back, bring it up wherever you're shooting it from, hold control down, you can turn it. So that means how it cuts up. That's what that roto is right there. So you roto those out, and then you bring your floor. That's what that pre-molt is doing. That pre-molt is cutting all that out. So now, bring it down to your floor. So basically when I took that picture, I was standing right about here. Not there yet, but gotta bring it down. You want to get your, so you want to kind of get it exactly where the lines are. So your floor, your back wall, one wall, and the other wall, your left wall, right wall. So as you can see, we still got things cut out. It's looking a little weird. But we're going to put cubes in there and project those back on. So when the camera goes around, you'll be able to see what's painted out, what you painted in. So you rebuild that. Yes, you can do this in 3D real quick, but who's not a 3D modeler, and some compositors want to do 3D and they don't do 3D. Well, this is how you do it. All right, so now let's create a scene. Put all these puppies right in there. Card, card, and card. So, and we can create a scan line just so you can see what you're doing. Okay. Now, where are we at? Let's see. You can do, so the viewer's on 1. You can do, put that on 2 if you want. So you can go back and forth. Alright. So now we're going to create the boxes. Now the boxes are going to be outside of this roto. They're going to go directly into here. And so that way they don't get pre-molted out from this roto. So here's where we go. So now we're going to create another roto paint. Turn off auto key, red, green, and blue. So just an alpha again. And we got 3 boxes, so you're going to duplicate that. 1, 2, 3. So let's rename these. Top box, mid box, and bottom box. So basically, again, you're going to copy all these down just like that. So let's do one. I'll just go pre-molt. Copy those over. Project 3D. Get that in your shader. Oops. Copy those over. And you're going to add a box one at a time. And let's put this into the camera. If you hold control down, it makes these orange dots for you to pull out. So put this into there, so you're bypassing that roto paint. So now if you go into 3D and you add your box, so you're going to add a cube. Go to geometry, cube. You can see it right there. And again, I like to turn these down to 0. And you can do the uniform scale. Make it pretty small. Pull this over towards your, oops. Kind of hard to grab, so you gotta get in there and grab that. One more, most very important thing I forgot to tell you is that on these boxes, you have to roto out the boxes. So after I told you to do that, so now go and grab your Bezier. So there's your boxes. Get it a little bit more lined up. I didn't do that good of a job. And come over here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm like to get as good as I can. Okay. So now if you go into 3D, you can see your boxes a little bit coming to life. Kind of get that settled in right there. Don't need it as long. Alright, I'm going to do just a rough to get all the boxes in there. Go back to 2D. Grab this box. Everything's off. Auto key. And again, grab your Bezier. And your third box, the same thing. You can make them this way, like the long way, you know, like they're real, but I just do it this way because it's just my way. You can do it any way you want, really. It doesn't matter. So plug these in. On these ones, you got to add the end of the camera. Same with this one, add it into the camera. Grab your cube, grab this second cube right here. Make a cube. Go into 3D mode. There it is. Again with this one, all of them textured lines. Go to 0, 0, uniform scale. Bring it way down. You can see it. Alright, here you go. And bring it over. I'm just going to rough put it in so that way. Oops. Kind of hard to grab that. You can see it coming into place. So grab it, set it underneath that box. If you see the lines when they're dotted like that, that means you're underneath the floor. You'll see it come out. I'm way underneath there. I gotta move that around. Come out too. Again with this one, for the third box, again, geometry, cube, and don't forget to plug these into the scene. This one too. Alright, back out in 3D mode, you can see that one right there. Put that to texture with lines, bring them down to 0. Because you don't need all that geometry in there. I guess it's just a 3D thing when you've been doing 3D forever. You just try to be as light as you can sometimes. And then uniform scale it down. Grab it, just bring it down. Grab it, put it over in your scene. Darn it. I'm just roughing it in right now. I know it's underneath here, so I'll fix it in a minute. But you can see them as they're, now that they're turning into 3D. Alright, give me a second, I'll rough that in. So here's another tricky thing. You see this camera right here? You want to duplicate it. Because then it matches up to the one that you have there. And this is the camera you're going to animate. And you're going to plug this into your scanline render. So basically here's how your tree is going to look. So your tree is going to look like this. Here's your camera. Right there, your first camera. And then all the stuff that's been rotoed that you're going to be modeling to see around the corner is in this roto right here. Put your walls, and then your boxes are going to go outside that roto. Same with everything, pre-molt, projection 3D, cubes, cards, everything. So basically your cubes are outside into your read node, and everything that's rotoed to be modeled is inside. If that makes any sense to you. So use your projection 3Ds. So now we're going to animate this camera. Alright, so here we go. So if you go into 3D mode, you should have default camera, camera 1 and camera 2. In your default camera, if you were like in Maya, you would make like a camera that you can just kind of screw around with. Camera 1, you don't touch. Camera 2 is the camera that you're going to animate. So however you want to animate it, you can, just set your keys. Set key in the beginning. So what I did, I just made a set key and I moved it around so you can see it moving around. So when you go into 2D mode, yeah, I'm going to fix that right there, I know. But when you go into 2D mode, this is what it should look like. So now you can kind of see it's going around there. I can even push in more. I can even push in right there. As a matter of fact, watch. So if I go to 3D, I can take that camera push in, I gotta fix that little roto right there. But now as it's going, see, I got a little bit more. So if you watch this right here, it looks like it's 3D and you're cheating it. So I'm coming around these boxes and see, I modeled that all in there, so I can literally go around those with my boxes. can take the camera and just zoom around there. I don't think some of my rotos were set to all frames, so I have to go back and set those to all frames. Go back up to here. Oh, they were set. Okay. Alright, so after it's all said and done, and you animated the camera, you just got to fix the boxes a little bit. Just double click on the boxes, fix them, and whenever your roto's not enough, go back and roto it out on the top main roto. But when you do, don't forget to come back and highlight them all, shift click and go to lifetime and put them to all frames, because it'll take them off if your roto's not far enough. So you can do this on any kind of flat 2D image. Just remember, roto out your walls, your floor. Set your camera where you think that the picture was taken from. So obviously, you know where I'm standing from and where I took the picture. So, and just roto out everything that you want to be 3D, and don't stick it into the roto paint. And you can see it. Alright, there you go. There's the tutorial on projections and turning a flat 2D image into a 3D image, or something like that. Alright, take care, you guys. Peace.